always say I'm not going to, but then I do talk. Okay, and you are now live.
Brilliant. Well, welcome everybody to our afternoon FBS chat. We're really thrilled to have Elfie and Dominik with us from beautiful Switzerland. And it would be really, I always ask how people got into the solution focused approach. What was it that grabbed you about it and made you want to learn more?
First of all, thank you for having us. It's really exciting to talk with the two of you and to, follow your journey along these FBS chats. And yeah, it's really wonderful to see what you're doing and how you're doing. It's a big thank you for that.
Yeah, just before we talked, we just said how happy and lucky and also glad and excited we are that you're doing that. And there's so many kind of people putting conversations with solution-focused practitioners out there, and we're so happy that this is happening, not just in our podcast, but in other podcasts and shows like that, so people can learn, be inspired, and just find their way of doing solution focus.
Yeah, and I think there are many different stories. It's not one of my favorite questions. We were talking about that earlier, so we'll give Dominik his. I would love to hear Dominik's story of today.
It's an interesting question because the stories change is happening all the time. So the stories how we tell or how I tell the past is always changing. And I think the main fascination or interest for me right now reflects my journey. And when I got to know solution focus, I studied at the University of Basel, and we want to find out what coaching is. It was 2001. And we invited two coaches. One was an ice hockey coach, very successful, and the other one was Peter Sabo. And the ICK coach came in and knocked on the table, said, "You got it, you got it, you don't, you got it. You three, I would work. And if you do exactly what I tell you, then we'll be successful. And this is coaching."
Wow.
And Peter Sabo came and said, "I don't know what coaching is." Well, strange. But just brought a few questions with me, and you might just want to try them out and see what happens. So we went out with the kind of those questions, and it's really strange, a kind of miracle in there and things like that. And we thought, well, this is never going to work. But somehow it grabbed my interest, and I went up to Peter Sabo and asked him, well, how can I learn, or where can I learn more about that? And then I forgot about it, and after I studied, I became HR manager. And suddenly a flyer of Peter's trainings came on my table, and I went to kind of an information evening with him, just an hour or so. And again, he kind of did the same thing, and he just let us talk with each other with those questions. And I realized the difference when someone asks me these questions, compared to just kind of, for me, reading a question like that, not having an issue or topic to talk about. And I was really struck when I realized the difference that it made for me within kind of 5 minutes. And yeah, that's how I got hooked. And I was very lucky to live close to Peter. And I was there quite often. We walked a lot and talked, and I got really into this, especially Soul community. From there on, I did his trainings, went to Soul conferences, and was just constantly learning with those people, from those people, and also now in the podcast, for example, or in conversations like that. Kind of, we always say the learning curve, the things we learn now, we learn the most. You always think you start learning something and then you got it and then you just do it. But now after 15, 16 years of being in the solution-focused world, I always have the feeling that we learn the most right now. And I think the biggest, what happened now for me is that back then I would have described, or I did describe solution-focused as a question-based approach. Kind of, it said the questions are relevant. And now with microanalysis of face-to-face dialogue, with our immersion into that topic, it became much it became clear that it's not about the questions. They're of course relevant, but it's much more about the dialogue and about how, or all the things we do in a dialogue that are relevant. So it's nice to think back of kind of how questions were really relevant. They once said that Peter said, we're actually just question sellers. The only thing we do, we sell questions. And that was kind of the idea back then, and now it's completely shifted, and it's really, for me, it's really fascinating to
I
see
think
that.
it shifted on also for Peter and for many other people, and I really like that. Yeah. And always when I listen to Dominik's story, you know, I wish I would have like this brilliant story where there was this one moment in time, and then, you know, I was like fully into solution focus. But I think for me it was like more a step-by-step immersion, and there were a lot of people who were really, really important on my way. So there was Peter Steinkellner, a very dear colleague in Austria, with whom I worked very closely, who actually was really the one who kind of opened the doors into the solution-focused world to me, together with Günther Lueger, by whom I was trained, and we worked together in a research project. And also we were developing a competency model where for organizations, you know, like they were super popular in HR to do like competency testing for the employees. And Günther, he developed this brilliant scale of where you can make differences visible. And so we used his tools and put together a competency model. And with that, I became more and more immersed into solution focus, working with Peter and Günther. And then, there were many other people. And when I met Dominik at a Soul conference, actually.
I was thinking, can I ask how they met? Is that?
I was going to ask that, but I thought, is that a bit too personal?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, go. This is good.
So there are different stories about that.
Yeah, there are also some stories, and there are some, you know, I mean, there are some people who were also important, because Susanne Burgstaller, she is a very dear friend of Vienna as well, and I worked with her too. And she was telling me for many years, or not years, but for a while, you know, you have to go to these soul conferences. You would fit there. This would be so perfect. Yeah, and I think you would really love that. And yeah, so finally I said, okay, I will come. And Kati Hankowski, together with a group in Hungary, they organized the Soul CE conference, the first Soul CE conference. And Susanne said, you know, you come with me. And she invited me to come. And she drove, and we, you know, had a really great time together. And there I met Dominik for the first time. And a few weeks later, he came to Austria because we had the yearly gathering of the Austrian Solution Circle. And again, it was Susanne who was like, you know, we should invite Dominik. But yeah, so a big shout out to her.
Big shout out to Susanna, thank you.
She doesn't like this story so much as we do, maybe.
Well, we tell her that she's responsible for that. So.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, things became really, really fast. So on all levels, because we became pregnant quite fast after that. And then I moved to Switzerland, and for me, this certainly was the biggest booster in my solution-focused learning. And because there's no day, I mean, there's almost no conversation we wouldn't have like solution-focused without. So yeah, that's kind of my story.
Yes.
We could go into a lot more detail about how you two met.
Yeah, Marco was a very important person too, because if I may share that, because this is also connected to the beginning of our journey, actually, because we would say that our SF on Tour journey really started at this Soul CE conference, even before we became a couple. So Marco Matera, he was there at the Soul conferences. There are always these beautiful cabarets. And that was there in Visegrad too. And Marco, he was introducing like how, you know, what Italians can really do beautifully. And so he and he needed this volunteer, and I volunteered to show that, and I didn't know what it was, but I love Italy, so I thought, okay, that's it's a good thing. Either it's about food or about love, I don't know, and or beauty. And so it was about like hugging each other, and he showed us that. And so the next day we were sitting together at lunchtime, and Dominik's. Well, I was a super expert in hugging.
Well, she told the whole group how you can hug differently, like if you do it like this or like this or like this, heart to heart, and the differences it makes. And so I was wondering, I wasn't there because I had a headache. I went to bed, and I said, "Well, you have to show me that."
Wow, yeah. You volunteered.
Nothing. Yeah, was just really curious about how the hugging works.
Yeah, and I was kind of an expert because I'm trained as an actress as well, and in our acting classes, this was always like a big thing. When something big happened, it was like you would hug each other and celebrate together, and So anyway, and then we hugged each other, and after the hug, during the hug, we noticed something is really strange here, and we got apart like. We need chocolate, like having the next chocolate to ground ourselves. And but then it was a good thing that we, saw each other and we let go, but we connected on Facebook actually and started to write out this idea of, I don't even know how this came about, but
we talked about kind of spreading these heart hugs because we kind of felt the difference in spreading love in the world. And then the idea came up. We could buy an RV and a motorhome and just travel the world and spread love and spread those heart hugs.
And bring people together around the campfire and to have meaningful conversations. And then we were talking about a hearty. So we knew back then we said, okay, our motorhome will be called Hearty and from the Heart Hug. And then we would have a song. And when we go somewhere, we would play it. And then the people could already gather, and we would have toys for the kids and other fun stuff for the adults to just connect and share stories and bring stories from one place to another. And
we have this brilliant idea of having a website where people can choose where we go, so they can vote on the kind of the place to drive, and then we drive where they want us. So we drive there, and then we have this huge loudspeaker on our motorhome, and we play the music, and they all follow us to the main square, and we party. But in the US, they don't have the main square. We were thinking of like Italy or something like that. But US and Canada, they don't have main squares, and you can cannot do that like that. So we have to change a little bit.
I think even when the journey, if you want to ask a question, just let us know.
No, keep going.
It sounds. I mean, what you've done, what you did. You went out on the road for what, 2.5 years?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big leap of faith. You gave up your house in Switzerland, decided to get this lovely RV, by the way. I've seen it, beautiful thing, and just travel. I mean,
all from a hug.
I don't know. How did you get that leap of faith that you thought this is the right thing to do? Because it's a big risk.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful question, because for us it was really like it was like that's the path was somehow clear, and it was clear that so when we became a couple, it was clear that we need to be in one place, and then Bibi helped us because when we were pregnant. So when I was pregnant. We knew, okay, now we want to for sure be together and on one place. And then Austria made the decision easy for me to move to Switzerland. And then I was in Switzerland. And then, we had Bibi and our focus was somewhere else. But then we were starting to search for a house, because one of our dreams was also to have like this place and a house where you can give workshops and seminars and bring people together in a village where you could talk with the mayor and have you ever been in Disney World in Orlando?
No.
Okay, so we were there on our journey, and it was really cool because you come to Orlando, and in the United States, all the traffic signs or like the direction signs are green with white letters, and then you come closer to Disney World, and all of a sudden the signs start to become purple and yellow, I think. So it's even before you come to Disney World. You see something's different, and then you start seeing the Disney figures, and this was like part of our dream, that we are in a village, and you come to the village, and something is different in this village, and
you start seeing that there's something different, and that you come into the solution-focused world. And back then we were also thinking, and also was very fascinated by the idea of having kind of a BFTC for trainings, kind of where we could invite people, or just be together as a group of people who are interested. People could just come, and then whoever joins is welcome. And then we'd ask the people who are there to deliver trainings, and we could sit behind the mirror or the video camera and see what they do and learn from them, and the solution-focused training, solution-focused learning, and just having guests or having people with us and learning together was kind of the main idea, and then also cherish the history of the solution-focused approach and how it all came about.
And I think another important point along this whole journey was always how to bring solution focus to people who wouldn't get in contact without without finishing a university, or having a university degree. And I think, this is one of the things we noticed, that most of the people we know who work with solution focus, they at least have a higher education. And how do you bring it to those people who have not, and who can benefit so much, and not just in a way of therapy, but really learning about the approach. And so there we had ideas of doing little trails where people can go from place to place. There are so many trails out there with all different things, like fitness trails, but then having a solution focused trail. And but then we couldn't find the house. We were searching, and the more closer we came to find a house, so the more concrete it became, the more we were, no, maybe that's too close to my parents, that's too close. We want to be close, but that's too far from our parents. We want to be closer. And at the end, we could imagine to live everywhere in Austria and everywhere in the German-speaking part of Switzerland. And and even Germany was a topic. And then, okay, we cannot find a house this way. This is not how we would find a house, at least.
Yeah, and if it doesn't work, then do something else.
Well, I mean, you started in Europe. I mean, any sort of because you've travelled some miles, haven't you? You've travelled quite a distance. I mean, you've started over to the US and Canada. So, on this idea of spreading the solution focus approach, I can imagine you pulling up in a square with the music going and people gathering around. So how did you? I mean, it seems silly, but how did you manage to survive?
It was kind of one of the two questions that most people ask us. And we had the money for kind of that we didn't spend for the house.
Cool.
So we said, well, let's just spend that money and see where it takes us. And we said, well, we just go, and we don't know when we will come back. We just know we have this money. And the good thing was that with the visa in the US and in Canada, we were not allowed to work.
And we, at the beginning, actually, we didn't even know that we want to go to the United States. So we were really let's buy a motorhome. So there were also a lot of discussions, but not solution-focused conversations of how to co-create our journey together. And one of my big dreams was to go to Lake Baikal in Russia, and with the motorhome, and
Wow.
Yeah, on the road and not flying. And but then it was like just step by step, it became more and more clear. No, we want to go to the United States, and it's a big chance to. So we were very aware of that this is a really great chance to at least meet some of the people who were there at the very beginning, and we might not be able to meet them in 20 or 30 years again. And so let's do this now. And but that was a process that was shaping step by step. And
Did you go to Milwaukee? Did you end up in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
So
Sarah Berg, Ins's daughter, gave us a tour, and we even we saw the houses where Stephen Insu lived. We saw the office buildings. We even went to where the last office was. We went in there, and we even went to the cemetery with Sarah, which was really lovely, and to the famous pizzeria. We went. We had dinner there. It was really amazing. Also to meet Sarah, and
it was really a solution-focused nerd tour. We're like standing in front of a normal house, like.
Yeah, but you've got Joe and I also nerds going, wow.
Yeah. I, like I said, it sounds like the ideal job because I love traveling.
We would love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, we were thinking about renting our motorhome. So.
It's still running, so you can. Yeah.
Do you know what would happen if Joe and I were confined in a space together for a week?
Well, he might invite you to do the silence.
It was your question, Joe, is interesting with surviving, because one thing was the money issue. So that we just had the money, we basically spent all the money we had for the house. And the second thing was also to kind of get into this new life of living in an RV and also living in the US and Canada. And it was interesting because after like a month or so, we were really exhausted. We were very fast, and we didn't know anyone there, and I could say kind of lost. And then people called us, or we met people saying, how is it to live your dream and to live? I would love to do that. Like, it's exhausting. Of course, we always saw what is working well, and then what we want, and to kind of all the kind of also what good next steps could be. But it was interesting to also find our way, and also how solution focus was useful there.
And there were things like the first month, like 1.5 months, we didn't have internet, and this was horrible because it was December, and in December we do always like 24 days an advent calendar. And with solution focused messages in there, and so every day we needed internet to post that, and then we had this like okay, we have to do that. We need to find a coffee spot. So we were sitting in the coffees every day, searching a coffee spot. That's speedy now. Searching for a coffee spot, and trying to get internet, and with Bibi, who also, which means he was 2.5 then. But it was really cool because Bibi, she was amazing and introduced us to wonderful people. So she had, her thing was when we were sitting in a coffee spot, she would go from table to table, always searching. She had like this gift of always finding the most joyful people in the room. And then she would start having a conversation with them. And then one of us would come and we would start talking with them. And we had really, I don't know how many situations when we were in a coffee spot for longer, and within an hour we knew everyone there and having just conversation.
Isn't that fantastic?
Wow.
And I really enjoyed listening to Bibi's voice on the podcasts. Absolutely. It was just you can't help but smile. I mean, you can't help but smile listening to your podcast, but listening to Bibi's voice is so uplifting, and it's lovely. It's lovely that Bibi was part of it.
Yeah, I think she was such an important part of she is of our whole life. And when this was a very interesting thing for us as well to discover how many societal rules or like ideas are there of how you have to do things. And so when we were pregnant, we discussed that we were self-employed here in Switzerland, and we discussed a lot about how we could, how we want to do things then. And and then I said, but when we have a training, we can't bring her just with us without saying that. And then like, well, wait a moment, why can't we? I mean, we are self-employed, we can make our own rules. And we did a lot of leadership trainings actually where we brought her with us, and it was never, we didn't talk about that before, but it was never ever a topic. It was always great because we introduced her in a way that really, I think, helped facilitate the group process much better than without her. Yeah.
She's part of the team, isn't she?
Yes, and it was amazing because little babies, they just know if people do problem talk or solution talk, and they react immediately to that. So we could utilize that and tell the people, and like she was usually very joyful and like in also engaging, and even in her young age. And so we could say, we're doing a great job here because we know it because she's doing well. And
we once had this wonderful experience with her because we had this kind of solution-focused workshop where we talked about how they could apply solution focus in their work for 2 hours or so, and then there was lunch break. And at lunch break, they started gossiping about their supervisors. And Viviana got really, really, and it was not resource gossip, it was really the other way around. Viviana started to cry. So I took her out of kind of the room, and she stopped. I thought, oh, I can go in again. So I went in again, and she started crying again. So it was like, wow. So then we realized, okay. And we all, it's interesting because we all feel that we're in a meeting or in a conversation with a lot of problem talk. We all feel that, like, we most of the time, or a lot of the time, people just go along with that. But babies, they just start crying. So it's really the best indicator for that.
Yeah. So
that's
she's
amazing.
Yeah. like an emotional radar.
Yeah, the team's complete now.
She wants to be here as well. We have something for you. I think
so wonderful. Honestly, absolutely wonderful. You wouldn't be complete without her.
It is this way. And when we start, we were talking earlier, like how this podcast came about as well. And so one of the things with the podcast was like that we knew if we do it, we want to have all three of us on the podcast. So that's why we asked her if she wants to do the intro. And we sometimes ask her if she wants to, ask a question as well or something. She usually, it's not very often that she wants to do it, but there are some sequence. I think in our celebration podcast 100, there is she talks about it at the beginning.
Because when I think of you guys, I think of the solution focused family. The three of you together, kind of obviously a family unit, kind of representing and doing wonderful things, but it's always the three of you.
Thank you.
So she's always part of it, and it's lovely to just watch her grow and listen to her. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, you guys are okay too.
Thank you. We take that as a really great compliment.
I mean, wonderful parents.
Yeah, you haven't done it.
They're doing all right, Joe, aren't they? Joe and I are going to get a dog, aren't we, Joe? We'll get a dog.
There must have been so many highlights on this journey. Are there any that stand out for you guys on your road trip?
I mean, for me, one big highlight, and I really mean that, one big highlight is look, beside many other things, but talking about family, really it's really a big highlight for me how we did that, living together on this small space. And I'm a person, I need a lot of space. I mean, not space, I need a lot of time for myself in order to, I'm really great in self-care. And if I do not do it, it's not good. Dominik can confirm that. And I know it. And I'm also like, fortunately able to tell that. And I think we did a really great job in like staying connected and again refocus. Even, there was a time, I think half a year or it was still in the United States. I think in the first third of our journey, I had a really tough time with Bibi. And it was like a week where I was just so annoyed and everything, but then like turning it around and being able to go to Dominik and tell him, please can you ask me a few questions, and knowing that this will be helpful. And I think this is one of the things we both can do, but I'm just so grateful, and I admire Dominik, how he can, even when I talk about like how annoyed I am, he can just really stay in this role of being not my partner or not being the father of Bibi, but of being helpful for our interactions. And that's really amazing. Yeah, and another highlight was that Dominik always changed the toilets.
That would be a huge highlight.
Well, it's just one consequence of the solution-focused principles. If it works, do more of it. And if it doesn't work, do something else. So it's like, okay.
That's how you guys last did the tour. I absolutely love it. Just taking it to, because we've heard that your training. Can we talk about your training a little bit? And then, if we've got time, I do want to go back to SF Tour. But the training, which I won't say what it is, I'll let you guys do that, is amazing. I've heard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we love it.
We love it. Yeah, we love it, and it has also a lot to do with our journey. Because when we got together, we did the first microanalysis online course, and there were several kind of instances where we got in touch with microanalysis. I was at a Soul Summer retreat with Harry Corman, for example, and we were at the Austrian Solution Circle together, where Wolfgang Geiswinkler showed us something, and so we were really interested. And then we did the first microanalysis course, and it was kind of like the moment of getting asked the first solution-focused question was the same, like, wow, that's something that can change the world.
Yeah. So for me, it was like I was saying earlier in my story of solution focus that I never had this one moment. But when Wolfgang Geiswinkler in the Austrian Solution Circle showed us this video, and then how they were together with Janet on Vancouver Island and with a group of people, and amongst those were Peter de Jong, Sarah Jordan, Wolfgang Marianne, I think Heather Fisk was there, Harry Coleman, Janet, and many other, I think a few other people. It was really cool because Wolfgang showed us that, and this was really like an enlightening moment for me. It was like, wow, this was like putting pieces together, and I was thinking, why didn't someone tell me this at the beginning of my solution-focused journey? Then I would have known how to listen and how to ask, and this listen, select, build thing became so obvious all of a sudden, and then we became more and more curious about it. And
and on our journey, we were in Olympia in Washington, and Stephen Langer said, well, you shouldn't go to Vancouver because of the kind of the customs. It will take a long time, and there's a big highway. Why don't you go to Vancouver Island and take the ferry? And there's just a little border control, and it's a very nice island. And Janet Bavalas lives there. Okay. So we called her and asked her if we could come by and spend some time with her. And we did. We stayed for about 10 days there. Wow. And with Sarah Healing and Jennifer Gerving. and it was our journey had, I think one thing is getting to know kind of principles of something, or kind of getting to know solution focus, or getting to know how people do it. And the other thing for us was getting to know the people and kind of just spending time with them. And it's such a difference for us now to not only know people like Janet, for example, but having spent time with her and with Sarah Healing or Jennifer Gergen, having the same kind of this experience of being together, of also spending leisure time together and talking about something completely different. And yeah, it was just amazing to be there. And also, well, clear, we want to spread microanalysis, and not only microanalysis, but also the differences it can make for the world and also for solution practitioners. Yeah.
For someone who doesn't know what microanalysis is, what would we expect to gain from the course, I guess?
So, yeah, two questions. Yeah. So microanalysis, it's interesting because if you start explaining what it is, it sounds like okay, not really that interesting. But for us, it is life changing. So microanalysis is actually a research method where we look at a dialogue, at a conversation, like with both people on screen, and we just look what happens and observes, and so we observe moment by moment, or you could say second by second,
in a very specific way. And I think this is something that's really different to what has been done before, looking at the tapes, because we look at interactions. So we don't look at what is Joe doing now and making things up about what he might think or do, or or just, or even without making things up, just observe what you're doing. But it's about what you're doing in reaction to what we are doing, and what are we doing in reaction to what you're doing, and really looking at these interactions.
Yeah, and it's the one, on the one hand, it's fascinating to see what we do together. Kind of you then realize that solution-focused conversation, or any conversation, is something you do together. And what changed, there's many things that changed for us since doing that. But what changed, I think, the most is how we talk about solution-focused differently. It's not a question-based approach anymore that just the coach or therapist is doing, but just really something we do together. And everything we do together in response to each other builds somehow on each other. And I do something, Elfie does something, you do something, and then we get somewhere, and hopefully we get somewhere that we like, and we influence that with our questions, with our formulations, with our nods, with our kind of the gestures, hand gestures, for example. There's so many other things that we do in conversations that are relevant, and we can show that, and we can show the relevance for the dialogue with that.
And I think in addition to what Dominik says, it didn't only change the way how we talk about solution focus, but it really changes the way how we do things as well. Like, for instance, yesterday I wanted to be really angry with Dominik. we had this conversation that started out with something, just asking a question, and then all of a sudden we were in this discussion, and like then, and I really wanted to be angry with you, but then just, after taking a breath, I cannot be angry because I know what my part in that was. And so it's
so it backfires on you now, Elfie.
It doesn't work anymore.
See, it backfires now.
In that.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds brilliant, because obviously in the initial days at Milwaukee, they'd watch things from behind a mirror, but this sounds like you're almost looking at it frame by frame.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's like putting a conversation, if you want to see what's going on in the tissue, you would put it under the microscope. Of course, you can look like that, and will see a few things, but under the microscope, you will see even more. And that's like what we do with microanalysis. We take a conversation, and we could talk about 2 minutes of a conversation, or even 1 minute for a whole day, and it will still be exciting, because there's so much to discover what you do in just 1 minute. And you wouldn't see that without going, like stopping, pausing, and looking again and again. And it's just amazing what you discover under the microscope.
Yeah, and you can do things differently. It's not only that you just observe and see, but you can then see what is it that you see and that you're doing well and that works well, and what is it that you see that you want to do differently. For example, you look at formulations. When you see that your client is telling you something, and then you make a statement, and then you see what did you omit, for example, what did you add, what did you preserve exactly, what did you preserve in altered form, maybe change the verb, and then not only that, but you can see the answer and see how your client takes what you add, for example, and goes along with that. So the question might arise of what did I add and how useful was what I added, and should I add that some things like that next time too? And if you look at the 10 conversations, you see, oh, I'm adding this or this element quite often, and you can really see the usefulness in the dialogue just by following up what the other person said, what you exactly said, what he says again, just as one example, and then optimize your practice for yourself. And it's not about, and it goes away from kind of this is good solution focused practice and this is bad, but it goes to, we observe, and then you decide with your assumptions, because everybody has assumptions about how the world works or about theory of change, how you think change is happening. And then you can have this assumption and really look at your utterances, you look at your questions, see how are your assumptions reflected there. And you will find out that you're saying you're doing something, and most of the time we're doing something maybe similar but still different. So you can optimize your practice and become a more congruent practitioner if you look at it this way, and then of course also learn from that.
One of our best hopes from the course and with the course, like when we put together the course, it was like we were talking about that for 1.5 years, or for at least a year, because we found that we talk a lot on the podcast about it, and many people were reaching out to us and asking, it's like this sounds really interesting, but what how can I bring that together with my solution focused practice? And we felt like that we can maybe build a bridge there from microanalysis, translating. That's why we called our course Translating Microanalysis into Solution Focused Practice. In a way where, just like as Dominik said right now, it's not about telling this is solution focused practice and this is not, but like start, asking, first of all, learning about microanalysis, and learning with microanalysis, they can show how co-construction in a dialogue happens. So if you're interested in postmodern theories, in social constructionism, for instance, with microanalysis, you can see what they on a more abstract level describe. So this is like for the first time that you could show in a dialogue what is happening, and that is described in a more abstract way in books like of Kenneth Gergen, for instance, and then his wife. And so you can really see what we are doing in a dialogue, and not minute by minute, but second by second.
Wow.
And, so it's like, and you see how you as listener, for instance, I was saying earlier, like Aisha, when you said, and I will sit there and just not talk so much. You will do a lot of things just by nodding and the way you're listening to us. And this is very important for the dialogue we are having. And I just feel the difference you're making, seeing both of you.
Yeah.
And how
Sorry, Elfie, I didn't realize how much I nod until I started watching my own, the videos back with the family sessions, because I used to always find it annoying when someone did that. And then I realized I was doing it a lot. I thought, wow, why am I doing it? And then, you can't help it.
And it's a good thing. Yeah,
it's a question of when you do it, and you could show that if you are in a solution-focused dialogue, you will nod at different times than if you're in a problem-focused dialogue, for instance. You would listen to different things, and with your nods, you would invite us to go on with our story somewhere else, if we let's stop ourselves.
Yeah, the theoretical concept is called calibration. And it's for us, it is life changing. A lot of people say, well, you cannot do anything with that, and it's kind of very second by second. But for us, we're sure it will change. It will change the world. People understand this concept, and the idea there, or what it's not the idea, but you can really see that is that there's this 3-step process going on, and this first step is. I introduce new information. You respond with a nod, for example, or with something you say. And I'm trying
not to nod. Sorry, go on.
So I introduce new information, you respond, and I respond to your response. And with that, the new information that I introduce is calibrated. And if you don't nod, and you can really test that out, but don't do that.
He did that with me.
Yeah, don't do that in public. Just it's very dangerous.
I'm going to try it now.
Just sit there like that, and don't
blink, and don't blink with your eyes, because your eyes.
Yeah, don't blink, don't nod.
Blinks are often also But I think one of the things is that it's totally not about not doing those things. So because these things are crucial in a dialogue.
They're natural too. Yeah.
They're natural, and if we don't do that, we couldn't have a useful conversation. Yeah, we couldn't have a conversation at all. I suppose. Yeah. So it's like what I was about to say earlier. So in the training, you will learn first about microanalysis, but then seeing how we can use what we learn from microanalysis for our solution-focused practice. And then we will not try to change our calibration and nod differently or blink with our eyes differently, but we will look at our theory of change, for instance, and what a solution-focused practitioners and all solution-focused practitioners, most probably every solution-focused practitioner will have a slightly different theory of change, even though it goes in the same direction. But then if you know that, you can observe it and you can see, is this what I think I'm doing really what I'm doing in a dialogue? And so it's not only for solution-focused practitioners, because we are convinced that every practitioner should do that. Everyone who works with other people, and health in healthcare, but in leadership, like everywhere. Yeah, people should look at their conversations and really look. Is this what I think I'm doing? Really, what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And then.
And sometimes, in many sessions that I've done and Aisha's done, I think sometimes the question is almost instinct. It's almost like there was no conscious thought. It just felt like the right question to ask, and it would be really to sort of analyze that and see. Do you think you need to be a certain type of character to do solution focus? Do you think it helps if you because it's something that I've seen people try it and it doesn't seem to, I don't know, like you were saying, the calibration maybe it seems a bit off.
It's an interesting question. If you look at Insu and Steve, for example, they're completely different. Yeah. And if you listen to stories, you hear kind of two main stories when you ask people how they, and you might have heard that too when you ask your question about how they got in touch with solution focus. There's a story of, I was always like that, and then I found the approach, and I knew, yes, now it has a name. And then the other version, kind of extreme version of, when I got in touch with solution focus, was so different to what I was used to. I was really into the problem world or whatever, and it's so different, and I loved it immediately. So I think if you listen to those two stories, or of course there are millions in between, and look at Insu and Steve and all the different practitioners out there, I would say no. I would say everybody can do that. And everybody does it and that's, I think, the beauty about it. Everybody does it in his or her way. Everybody finds out his or her things that work well, apply it in his or her way. And that's, I think that's, and some, of course, some have maybe behaviors or learned behaviors that are more useful and others might not be. But I think it's, I think everybody can do it.
So in terms of, sorry, Elfie.
I would also like to challenge the idea of character, because that's also the question, what are we talking about there? But and the other thing that came to my mind is one of the things we love to do in trainings is to we have an exercise, particularly if we have just limited time and want to make visible that people know what solution focus is. So we have this presupposition that everyone knows the difference between solution focus and problem orientation or problem focus. And you can test that by asking people, or not asking, by putting 10 questions, 5 solution focus questions, 5 problem oriented questions on the floor, and ask them to say which one are problem questions and which one are solution focused questions, and they will do that immediately. And the less trained people are, the faster they are usually.
Wow.
And then you would so what we love to do is to read that out, and then but not having people answer, but just feel the difference. And so people notice the difference. It's what we were talking about earlier as well, that when Bibi as a baby just reacted in her way, like babies react when they want to tell us something, they start to cry or to to get uncomfortable and then show that. And people, that we all do that as well, but we are of course trained to do things in a different way. And so I think that, I still think that solution focus is really still in our society a paradigm shift. And so it's not just asking this question, because I can ask a solution focused question and then at the same time be very problem oriented, because I ask it in order to solve the problem. I ask it because I believe that you are. I just truly believe in you, and I know that you will go your way. So then you ask a question from a problem, with a problem focused idea or with a solution focused idea. So
maybe one remark to the exercise that Elfie just described, with the 10 questions, 5 problem oriented, 5 solution focused, and then they start to categorize them, and then we ask them kind of the questions. And what we always do now is to start with the 5 solution focused questions. Just read them out loud in exactly the order they put them. Just let them kind of think a little bit about them, like maybe 2-3 seconds, read the second question, then the third, the fourth, the fifth, and then say, okay, now we go to the problem oriented questions and then read them. And what we realized is, since we do it this way, before we just read the problem-focused questions first, and then we asked them, well, what differences did you kind of just notice kind of when we asked you the solution-focused questions and when we asked you the problem-oriented questions? And when we started with the problem-oriented questions, they always said, you have to know or have to think about the problem first, and then you can talk about the solution first.
That was very helpful to think about the problem first. That made it easy then to think about the other things.
And so we were thinking, well, how can we what small thing can we change that we don't get that answer anymore? So we said we need to start with solution focused questions. And ever since we're doing that, because nobody has ever had this idea anymore of you need to talk about the problem first, just by switching a little tiny thing in the exercise. And the good thing is we always kind of do that in the beginning, like the first few minutes of the training, without even introducing solution focus. And then they all say, you know, this was much lighter, more hopeful. I had first ideas. I know now what to do. I'm encouraged.
It's difficult. I'm not used to think this way, and I really have to think here. With the other one is much easier because
because it's what they're used to.
Yeah, and then when you ask which ones do you want to go on, and answering, it's clear 100% solution-focused questions. And when you do that at the beginning, the whole training, they cannot come back to say you have to talk about the problem first. Just impossible because they had this experience.
Yeah. So if anyone wanted to book onto any of the fantastic training that you guys are offering, would that be through the website?
Yeah, the microanalysis training, it's a 4-week online training, is www.sfontour.com/microanalysis. And there you'll find it. Yeah.
And when's the next cohort?
It starts on August 21st till September 25th.
So
it's a group of 12 people maximum.
We'll book Joe on that tomorrow, and then I'll join the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's online. You'll have practitioners from all over the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's a really diverse and it's cool to learn together.
Yeah. And there's another super exciting thing that's happened in your guys' life, because you haven't had enough exciting things happening. A book.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Now you are going to have to translate some of it.
You might be able to read the first kind of 2 lines. Fascination, solution focus. It's in German.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
People who know the podcast, they know where this title comes from.
And it's a really, really cool project, actually. So I'm board member of the Austrian Solution Circle in Austria, and we have our 10 years anniversary this year. And we were asking ourselves, like, how can we really, celebrate this in a very special way, the 10 years? And so we came up with the idea of writing a book. And actually we saw later that a colleague already had this idea in the first year of the Austrian Solution Circle. So it seemed this idea was around already for quite some time. And, but, then we had not only the idea to write a book, but also like an idea for a structure. And we invited all the members of the Austrian Solution Circle to submit a success story. And so it's a book with 21 success stories of 25 people who work with solution focus in all different kind of fields. So we have people from your area, like working with in the social work area and with domestic abuse. Then we have people who do coaching, people who do organizational development, and like this, our intention was to really show the variety, how solution focus can be lived and done, and and to show how many great people are doing that. To have that in a book. And then there is also a very a short but very compact introduction to solution focus, and we also write about the paradigm shift, and we write about the international communities and how to connect. So
so unless that's written in English, I won't believe you.
Thanks for
you could be saying anything.
Yeah.
How would I know it's true? I can't read it.
You could have shown us a cookbook.
Yeah. So,
right,
I think we're going to start a protest.
Yeah.
That's good. So we now know what to do.
In aid of, please enlighten us with this, with these fantastic success stories, because we all good solution focused practitioners. We never stop learning, and we learn so much from listening to each other. And so the more we connect, the better therapists and practitioners we become, and that's something that we embrace. So I want to read the book, please. Or you're going to have to summarize it for me, chapter by chapter, in English.
So then you can translate it.
I'll accept that. For now. for now.
Thank you.
Joe, do you have a question that you need to ask with your top 5?
Yes. Yeah, it would be nice to know. Obviously, you've travelled far and wide. What are your favourite 5 questions to ask a client or an organisation?
It's a very interesting question because obviously for me there are some questions I ask, but I'm experimenting a lot with the questions, and so my favorite answer at the moment to this question would be that my favorite question actually is a question that is useful for the client and that really brings, a question where I notice this really, here someone starts to think about something different, and I cannot know this question because this is something that's evolving in the conversation. And it's really picking up the words and going with that. I had a coaching the other day where I was asking questions just using co-speech gestures, not using words, but showing you meant this is different and this is different. So but it's one of the things we experiment a lot are interactional questions. So how do we what I would love to see in my interactions when I watch tapes is that I really invite people to see interactions more, and what is Wechselwirkung? The oh gosh, the reciprocity, and that what I'm doing makes a difference for what you're doing, makes a difference for what I'm doing next, and because this is one of the things I notice for myself makes a huge difference, and I believe that this is really something that's helpful if you want to make changes to observe the different interactions.
Yeah, it's interesting. What we observe now with microanalysis is how many questions solution-focused practitioners, also the two of us, ask about the situation, what might be different, for example, and I think for us right now, the interesting thing is to see how we can have them talk about their different interactions. So what differences might that make for your interactions with your mom, for example? And it goes in the direction of brief and asking kind of about how the other person would notice, how he might respond, how I might respond, how they might respond. But a little bit more, really also introducing this concept of interactions and how the interactions might change.
And I think also, what are we doing differently together? I think this is one of the things that we like to explore.
And also with teams, I think when we have the last 5th question with teams, maybe there is also an interesting thing that we observe people when they work with 2 or 3 people together, that they ask about the preferred future of the one person, of the second person, of the third person, but rarely about the joint preferred future. And especially when we work with teams, it's really interesting to talk about the things that we want together. And
which is what makes them a team.
Yeah, or a family, or
Brilliant.
And then,
Joe, sorry, Elfie. Go on, Elfie.
No, I just was because there was one thing earlier that came to my mind. There's one thing that's not connected to your question about our favorite questions, but one thing that's very dear to our heart, and that I would really love to invite people to join. So we put together 2 years ago a program about solution focus and suicide prevention. And it's a free resource on our website, because this is one of the things you asked earlier about one of the highlights of the journey. And I think maybe it's not so much a highlight, but one thing that really was very important, or like where I found a different way of seeing is this meaning of hope. And this really changed for me due to also, I mean, when we started our journey, my cousin killed himself. And it was something where I was, thinking a lot about it and like asking myself, like, I mean, we were at home that time, and I saw him, and was something that was like, okay, could I have been more? Could have made a difference. Yeah, not that I think that's my thing, and this was kind of a quest for me along this whole journey, and with that it was a quest for us. And then we had the honor of meeting Brigitte Lavoie, who is just an amazing woman, and things she does around in so many different fields is amazing. And then Heather Fisk as well. And they agreed to have a conversation with me, and we did a webinar, and we recorded the webinar, and then we did a conversation after that as well. And there are also many resources about that, because I felt like this is just, I have never heard about solution-focused suicide prevention before, and in Austria. Yeah, so I'm coming from the organizational field. So that was not a topic, but actually it is a topic, because I really believe that in every solution-focused conversation, we make a difference. We connect with each other. We invite people to connect in a different way, and that every solution-focused conversation is preventing suicide. And this is, so I would just love everyone to join this program. And as I said, it's free. You just need to enter your email address. We don't spam you. You can unregister from the newsletter anytime. And it's just, our hope that many people will benefit from that. And I just had a call from a participant of the course the other day, who told me she's a psychologist, but a working psychologist. And someone called her who had suicidal thoughts, and she was like, okay, this is not my thing. But then she remembered things from this online course that she was just listening next to cooking, and could ask different questions and really make a difference for this person. And, hearing these stories really encouraged me and us to just keep going. And that's also on our website, www.sfontour.com/suicide
prevention.
Is it suicide? Okay, thank you.
That's the training I'm signing up for, and the suicide prevention.
Same.
Because Aisha's husband's a police officer, and sometimes he has to talk people down. So I think it's a great resource for people in that field as well. You don't have to be, I guess, a psychotherapist to get them.
Yeah, he was actually asking for training on that, and he uses solution focus as much as he can when he's working.
Wow.
He especially uses the scales, because I think he's more familiar and comfortable with that, because he has had very limited training. But he's definitely going to be super excited when I tell him that I've signed him up. And I think it's incredible what you guys are doing. Absolutely incredible. And most throughout the conversation, in my head, I know I've been nodding a lot, but in my head I'm like, amazing. Wow, amazing. How many, and you think, God, there's only so many times I can say that without people thinking, God, why does she keep saying that? But it really is amazing what you guys are doing. It's absolutely amazing.
Thank you. That means a lot to us, because especially on our journey, we're sometimes quite alone, driving through the desert in the US, or especially in Canada. Canada's a huge country. And then we had no idea about the differences that kind of our podcast, for example, makes and made. Because for us, we want to spread solution focus. We want to get as many people to get to know this approach and to experience this approach, and then they can decide if they want to follow up or not. That's completely their decision. But to give them the opportunity to get in touch with that. And also, just to make a difference in as many fields as possible, and inspire people through the people that we are in contact with. I think that's something we are good at.
Mm.
So, yeah, just like you're doing, just like spreading the news and then the stories. Yeah.
This has been it's been really a pleasure, honestly.
Yeah, really a pleasure. And I can honestly say,
for an hour.
oh no, where have our couple gone?
Oh,
Please come back. Oh. Joe and I were both talking over each other, trying to get the last word in, but I'm going to jump in first because I'm faster. So I can hand on heart say that you've both made a difference in my life and my practice as a solution-focused practitioner. A, because of the podcast, but also B, following you on social media is absolutely fantastic. And you've both got an incredible smile. And I want to thank you for that. Thank you so much for everything that you have done for everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending the time. Like I said, I've been smiling for a whole hour, and that's kind of it. Just because you're so warm and so knowledgeable. So I can't wait to sign up for the course and see you guys again.
Thank you. Yeah, we can't wait.
Can I just say something? Do you know what I noticed? I was nodding throughout. You were nodding throughout, Joe. And then when Elfie was talking about her cousin, I noticed that I wasn't nodding.
See, that's micro.
And neither were you. I looked at you and you weren't nodding, and I thought, oh wow, I'm not nodding because it's problem, because you're talking about a problem, aren't you? And I'm like, wow, I'm not nodding. They're right. See what you've done to us now.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, honestly, I was analysing myself and what I was doing at that point, my response to what you were saying.
It will go again.
It's absolutely incredible. Can I ask that you stay there? Don't go anywhere, so we can say a quick private thank you.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for everyone for watching.
And I would just, before you close it down, also again say a big thank you to the two of you. It's just lovely and beautiful and delightful how you create this space, how you invite other people to share their brilliance. And it's a lot about if people say clever things, it's often very, very much connected with the people who ask the questions and listen. So thank you very much for listening and for asking. Yeah.
Oh, they're so lovely. Why can't you be this lovely, Joe?
I haven't found the world yet. That's what it is.
Yes, we need the RV. That's what it is. No, it's because we don't have an RV.
Please, yeah.
We'll come to Switzerland and borrow the RV. I was going to say, where is she? Hello.
You have to talk in English now.
Oh, yes. Bye.
How gorgeous.
Goodbye.
Bye.
You guys stay right there. Everyone else, we'll see you guys soon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.